Richard. And Richard is gonna talk about,
Legislation. Let's put the
I
slide.
put that in my pocket, so he's got the remote control back in his hand then.
And the remote control is not working for some reason. So, next slide. Okay, my name is Richard Phillips, and if I look, or more likely sound familiar, you've heard me before. I was here about 7 months ago when you had your last public hearing in this third room. And I've been asked to talk about what other Wisconsin towns are doing about wake surfing regulation and the industry's response. Next slide. Okay. 4 key points, quickly. Only this town board can protect Lake Beulah and the other lakes in this town. No one else will do it. 68 Wisconsin towns have already passed ordinances covering over 370 lakes over 50 acres in the state. The industry works very hard to prevent towns from protecting their own lakes. The industry over and over and over issues its campaign, Wake Responsibly. It says you don't need an ordinance. All you have to do is stay 200 feet from shore, keep your music at a reasonable level, minimize repeat passes. That is what the industry says you need to do to protect your lakes. Where on this Wake Responsibly campaign does it say anything about how close to get to other boaters? Where does it say a thing about don't wake surf in shallow water? The wake industry cares about protecting one and only one thing, its profits. It does not care about your lakes. It is a mistake to listen to an industry whose prime objective is to make profit. Next, previous slide. Okay. And the threat of litigation is greatly overstated. Every town that considers an ordinance is told, you're gonna be sued, you're gonna be sued, you're gonna be sued. We'll talk about that. Next slide. Okay, the industry says rely on existing state laws. That's good enough. The hard reality in Wisconsin is there are 0 state laws specific to wake surfing. Wake surfing is regulated by the exact same laws that regulate my 15-foot, 40 horsepower walleye boat. It is lawful in Wisconsin to wake surf 100 feet from shore in 4 feet of water. That is perfectly lawful in the state of Wisconsin. Indeed, there are laws in Wisconsin prohibiting transferring ballast water and dumping antifreeze. But the DNR refuses to enforce those laws. We did an open records request. They've been enforced against many, many, many boats. Never once against a ballasted boat. Why? Because the DNR takes the position that for ballast tanks, it is unreasonable search and seizure for them to try to look into a ballasted boat. They will not enforce the laws. You and only you can protect your lakes. Next slide. The industry says, towns, don't do anything. Wait for the state to act. Wait for state legislation. In the 21-22 legislature, nothing happened. In the 23-24 legislature, 3 bills were introduced. 2 were the exact industry bill. The principal purpose of that industry bill, the reason they introduced the wake surfing bill, was to kill local control. To take away the right, long established in Wisconsin law, for town boards to protect their own lakes. Wisconsin is the only state in the country where it's easy for a town to protect its lakes. The wake surf industry wants to kill that. There is almost no chance a meaningful bill will be enacted. In this legislature, which is mostly complete, not a single bill has yet even been introduced, let alone gone to committee. You will not have state legislation. This town board and only this town board can protect your lakes. Next slide. The state will not take meaningful action. The DNR has done nothing and will do nothing. Counties are expressly disabled from regulating lakes. Counties can regulate rivers and streams. They may not regulate lakes. The U.S. government has no interest in protecting inland lakes. The only people in the universe who can protect the lakes in East Troy are sitting before you, right here. Next slide, please. Many Wisconsin towns recognize that the industry will do nothing, the state will do nothing, the DNR will do nothing, and they themselves have enacted their own ordinances, the kind of ordinance we're talking about today. 68 towns, those 68, 63 have wholly prohibited wake surfing. 5 towns have restricted it to a distance from shore. 4 of those 5 restricted to 700 feet from shore. 1 of the 68 ordinances restricts wake surfing to 600 feet from shore. That is the least restrictive ordinance that any Wisconsin town has passed, 600 feet from shore. 16% of all Wisconsin lakes over 50 acres are protected. Dozens of more towns are working ordinances right now. Next slide. The industry says, but it's only those crazy northern tree hugger towns that are working ordinances. This is a map of the ordinances in Wisconsin. Apparently they include southeastern Wisconsin in those crazy northern tree hugging towns. Lots of ordinances already down here. Next slide, please. They also say they're just a smattering each year. The first 15 years, we got 15 ordinances, on average 1 ordinance a year. Last year, we more than doubled the number of ordinances, 20 ordinances in 1 year. Thus far, 10 months, 2025, we have 32 ordinances this year. There'll be several more before the year ends. Next slide. So what about other states? The industry is fond of saying most states that pass statewide ordinances pass 200 feet from shore. Let me tell you about that. The industry has gotten its own bill, its 200-foot bill. Same thing you see on their advertising, passed in 4 southern states: Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, and Tennessee. Those states, all 4 combined, have fewer natural lakes than the little dinky town of Presque Isle, where I'm from, in one county of Wisconsin. Tennessee, 1 natural lake. Alabama, 1/2 a natural lake, shared with Florida. And the lakes they have are Tennessee Valley Authority reservoirs, giant mountain valley hydroelectric lakes. You can afford a 200-foot from shore ordinance. I wouldn't recommend it, but you can on a lake that's 10 square miles. Lake Beulah is a mill pond compared to the lakes regulated in those 4 states. That is not useful information for you. Why have other northern states with glacial lakes not done anything? They have not done anything because of industry money. We can't get a decent bill passed in Wisconsin because the industry, billions and billions of dollars, can outspend my nonprofit. We're lucky when we get $10,000 in an entire year. Okay, next slide, please. Industry response in Wisconsin. What has the industry done? It's attempted to kill local control through the last legislature. Fortunately, that failed, and I think now it's the political third rail. I don't expect to see the industry to try to do that again. They're making huge donations to the Wisconsin legislature. An industry campaign that no regulation is needed other than 200 feet from shore. These people will not even acknowledge that you shouldn't wake surf in 5 feet of water. You cannot believe the industry. All they care about, as he pulls his wallet out, is that. They continue to insist that surf boats cause no bigger waves, no greater bottom damage, or no greater invasive transfer than any other boat. There's a great Groucho Marx line. Who you gonna believe, me or your lying eyes? Believe your lying eyes. If you see a video showing bottom destruction, believe it. If you've been on the lake and you see those waves, what they do to your boat, believe it. Next slide, please. Okay, what's the industry's basis for insistence on 200 feet from shore? Studies they paid for. Studies they paid for. The industry has one and only one motivation: to sell as many boats as possible. Should East Troy accept the industry's position? Next slide. Threats of litigation. It is inevitable. If you consider an ordinance, you will be threatened with litigation. Across the entire U.S., there is no known instance in which the wake surfers won one of their suits. Outside Wisconsin, two cases, both went to federal court, and both the wake surfers lost big time on claims that somehow wake surfing is a constitutionally guaranteed right. I don't remember James Madison having anything to say about wake surfing when he talked about freedom of speech, right to bear arms, freedom of assembly, but somehow in one of those Federalist Papers there must have been something about wake surfing. So every case outside Wisconsin, the ordinance survived, the wake surfers lost. Next slide. Okay, there have been two cases in Wisconsin. There's only one active. The first case was a suit brought in the town adjacent mine, Manitowish Waters. The wake surfers sought a temporary restraining order against the ordinance. They failed. They then sought an injunction against the ordinance, and here is what Judge Overby had to say. He's the judge in Violets County. This is not a ban on the boat. This is a ban on an activity that there's a rational basis for restricting. This ordinance is tailored to the health, safety, and protection of the public and the environment. But these ordinances are ordinances an average person can read and understand. They gave notice, and the ordinances are rationally related to the objectives, legitimate objectives. Redlining is mine, not Judge Overby's, what he said. So the request for an injunction is denied, and this matter is closed. Manitowish Waters, that ordinance includes several lakes, bigger and deeper than Lake Beulah. Next slide. And lastly, the one pending case in Wisconsin is a case in the town of Scott. And this case neatly illustrates why you must have an ordinance. Two wake surfers, one from Texas, one from Florida, non-residents. They have summer cottages on the place. Birch Island Lake. They wake surf there in the summer. The town passed an ordinance. You'll understand why in a moment. And the ordinance forbids them to wake surf on Birch Island Lake. And they brought a case now in federal court claiming that their constitutional rights have been violated under the U.S. Constitution, the Wisconsin Constitution, and they make a few other claims. Birch Island Lake, per the DNR, is 13 feet deep at its deepest point. It has an average depth of 6 feet. Most wake surfers are responsible people, but not the two fellows in town of Scott. The reason you need an ordinance is there are wake surfers out there who think they have a constitutionally protected right to wake surf in 6 feet of water. The trial was set for October 26th. The town requested a jury, and oh boy, it'd be fun to see what a jury does with these two gentlemen. Next. Okay. Only this town board can protect Lake Beulah. The state and the DNR will do nothing, and the county is disabled from doing anything. The town board has the duty to protect the health, the safety, and the welfare of the people of the town, and to protect the natural resources of the town. 68 Wisconsin towns have already acted, protecting 370 lakes, and we ask that you do also. Next slide. Thank you.
You got 11 minutes.
We're on time. We're even a little bit ahead. Thank you to everybody, Richard, and all of our speakers. You've all invested a lot of time, a lot of energy, learning about wake surfing and compressing that knowledge into the short presentations that we just experienced. Hearing it all once again, it makes me realize that as a community, we have three choices going forward. We can continue to do nothing, like we did this last summer, and watch the lake community and the lake itself descend into chaos. Or we can enact maximum protection and disappoint the wake surfing community by enacting a total ban on all area lakes. Or we can attempt to define a set of rules that allows wake surfing in areas that minimizes the potential for damage to the lake and the disruption to other lake users. Rather obviously, doing nothing is the easiest path. But doing nothing carries the greatest risk. Risk to the lake, risk to the safety of all lake users, and risk to the political balance of our community. Obviously, Protect Lake Beulah does not support this option. The second easiest thing to do is a total ban. Doing so would not be popular with the lake surfing community, and it carries the very small risk of a legal challenge. It's what our lake community, though, has told us they prefer. In survey after survey after survey, no matter who asks the question, our lake community has told us that they prefer a ban. And it is the position of Protect Lake Beulah that we would accept a ban. If that is the decision of this board, now or at any point in the future, Protect Lake Beulah management and membership would support a ban. The hardest thing that we could do is to try and define a set of rules and then enforce those rules. Defining depth and distance is really just the beginning. Creating maps and placing buoys to define safe surfing areas is going to be time consuming and expensive. Enforcement of those areas is going to require a continuous investment of time and money by our local police force, and maybe, most importantly, announcing that our pristine water wonderland is open to wake surfing will make Lake Beulah a prime destination for all wake surfers for miles around. And educating those visitors as to the unique underwater topography of our lake will require even more maps and more buoys and lots of water patrol hours and effort. And then there's AIS. The risk of welcoming AIS from all of those off-lake folks carrying non-drainable ballast water that mixes with our carefully protected lake water the very first time and every time that they fill or drain their tanks. So, as we complete this portion of our program, I respectfully request that our town leaders do what the experts have recommended and either ban wake surfing or enact an ordinance that institutes AIS safeguards but allows wake surfing on East Troy area lakes to occur in water at least 25 feet deep and at least 500 feet from shore for the summer of 2026. And if, and only if, no disasters requiring an immediate halt occur, we plan to revisit this topic next fall to discuss the pluses and the minuses of this first attempt to allow wake surfing on East Troy area lakes. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. I now turn things over to Chairman Jones for any questions that the board might have of all of our presenters.
We're gonna not have questions? Joe, you can't talk, I guess.
Read
We're
what
here
a
to
public
listen.
hearing is
We're
we're
not-
not supposed to have questions.
I understand.
So,
So
So
we
we're
can
not
have,
having questions.
so,
a few board meetings ago, we were told that, GPS coordinates would be available for the study of terror vigilance. And we would be given available the footage from 20-foot depths and 25-foot depths. Is there footage available for us to see this?
Yes.
I think right now where we're at is looking at a depth and a distance.
We're not talking about
Right.
this.
so can we make sure it's available, we know where it is, we don't need to do it right now?
Yeah, the map of the areas we did is in the full report. I can get that to you, okay?
Yes.
And then the videos, I'd have to look see specifically, but I just uploaded a bunch of videos on the Protect Lake Beulah YouTube channel. But, Terra Vigilis has all those posted as well. Mike Mortensen was the one that posted that.
So what we'll do is, if you could just send the board, a link to that stuff.
Sure.
And then we would have it, okay?
Sure.
Right.
What we're gonna do right now is take that 10-minute break, 5-10-minute break. It's gonna be really hard to bring everybody back together, but I'm gonna say, according to that clock, it's 11:05.